Live from Studio A, WTLK, The Thunder.
Alright, so I just got back from DragonCon. I'm very tired, but it is Mjolnir Monday, so you're getting a WTLK anyway. So without further ado, we're going to talk about some wrestlings of what happened earlier this week, but we're going to save NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff to next weekend because I haven't watched it yet. I just know that basically the assholes won and British Blink-182 won the tag titles. Anyways, King of the Ring tournament on the Raw side, Ricochet defeated Drew McIntyre, who was considered the favorite, so a massive upset here, and he advances to the quarterfinals versus Samoa Joe. Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship at Clash of Champions in a couple weeks. Less than a couple weeks, oh my god. And they're also defending the Raw Tag Team titles that they won the same night. Also in the King of the Ring, Baron Corbin defeated The Miz and will face Cedric Alexander in the quarterfinals tonight. And there was a thing called the Tag Team Turmoil, which is literally just a gauntlet match for tag teams. Follow along with me here. The Viking Raiders, the much touted Viking Raiders who are destroying jobbers all over, defeated the B team, and then the Viking Raiders and Gallows and Anderson were disqualified for wailing on each other and not letting the match start officially. And then, so it was just Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, a random tag team that was just thrown together for this, and they defeated Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik of the Lucha House Party, who've been together a long time. They also defeated the Revival, who've been together a long time. And then they defeated Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, who've been together a long time. And they defeated Heavy Machinery, who've been together a long time. So they get to face the other randomly thrown together tag team, the champions Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman at Clash of Champions. Sasha Banks defeated Natalya and then tortured her with the Banks statement. So we're just waiting to see what the Raw Women's Championship picture is going to look like. And AJ Styles is still the United States Champion after the ref got knocked down. And AJ raked the eyes and hit the nuts of Braun Strowman, then hit him with a steel chair while the ref was still knocked down. And Gallows and Anderson helped him, as the OC does. And then Braun disposed of Gallows and Anderson, and the ref got up and saw Braun with a steel chair that he never actually used, but the ref heard the chair hit somebody, so Braun got disqualified, and Braun then just destroyed all the members of the OC like he does. Get these hands. On the SmackDown side for the King of the Ring tournament, real quick, Chad Gable defeated Shelton Benjamin, Ali defeated Buddy Murphy, and then they shook hands afterwards. They were two very prominent parts of 205 Live before they got called up to the main roster, so this was definitely a match to keep an eye on, and it definitely didn't disappoint. And both Ali and Buddy Murphy are going in some really good directions. Proud of them. Also, Roman showed the new footage of Eric Rowan being his attacker after Daniel Bryan publicly demanded for Roman Reigns to apologize to them, and after he saw this, Daniel Bryan said he didn't know and he was lied to by Rowan, and he smacked the shit out of Rowan, and he came out onto the ring and tried to frantically convince Roman that he had no idea this was happening. So Roman's response to that, he speared him. So there you go. This week we'll find out even more on this very, very long feud, because Hell in a Cell is like a month away. Also, another match for Clash of Champions. The Miz will be facing Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship at Clash of Champions. Miz is already an 8-time Intercontinental Champion, and he's very proud of that title and its history and legacy. And of course, he's a face now because the WWE Universe decided he would be nothing but a face now that they know the real Mike Mizanin per social media and the best reality show ever, Ms. and Mrs. So yeah, everybody's rooting for him to get that IC belt, even though Shinsuke has a new layer added to his character because Sami Zayn, I don't know if I covered this in past WTLK, but Sami Zayn, who is freaking incredible on the mic, not a bad wrestler either, but freaking incredible on the mic, is like his spokesperson now, his manager, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, his valet, I don't know. So anyway, all that good old wrestling is out of the way. Yeah, DragonCon, that just happened. And holy shit, that was an otherworldly, incredible experience. So we left Thursday afternoon, ate at the Bottom Clock. This is still in Greenville. And then went on down, saw QT that was on whatever exit highway that goes to Gainesville. They still didn't have a pumpkin shake or any kind. And the pumpkin shake is important later. So remember that. And we went down, struggled through a little bit of Atlanta traffic, but really the brunt of the issue was trying to find a parking garage that wouldn't completely fuck us over this weekend. And so once we did that, what do we do? Do we get our stuff, or do we go ahead and eat dinner first? Man, no wait. We got in, got my badge, and then we met up and went to the opening ceremonies, which was, I guess, cool. Yeah, we were there for like 20 minutes or whatever. And then we went to the DCW DragonCon wrestling thing for about 35 minutes. Boy, that was interesting. For the first 25 minutes, people were talking, to which everybody else that I talked to that weren't regular wrestling fans were like, isn't that wrestling? I was just like, I mean, maybe, but I've never seen a 25-minute promo. I mean, come on. Maybe there are 25-minute promos, but it's just people I really care about. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard Roman Reigns do a 25-minute promo. Or Alexa or Becky. Could hear Becky do a 25,000-minute promo and it still feel like 2 minutes, but that's neither here nor there. And then watch the match with like Black Metal Brock Lesnar, Gym Class Daniel Bryan, and some other random dudes. Some little guy who thought he was already King of the Ring. I mean, it was fairly entertaining. Saw Black Metal Brock Lesnar F5 a couple people at the same time. So that was neat. Oh, we went to dinner at the Atlanta Braves themed restaurant on Peachtree Street, and that was incredible. Got to sit in there and watch the Falcons game at the same time. The Falcons winning their first preseason game since 2016 against the Jaguars. I don't know. I mean, it's just preseason, but either the Jaguars are going to be just garbage this year, no matter which way you look at it, or just you give them 2 key injuries and their season gets sunk. I don't know, but the season begins later on this week. The regular season football is back, baby. Okay, so after the Braves, we went back to the hotel. We stayed at the Westin, not Westin, but Westin, and we waited in level 6 for a good bit. Met up with everybody finally, unloaded our stuff in the room, and holy Bananarama, Arthur Blank, that view was incredible. Wow. Yeah, I think I've posted pictures on my social media. You just got to see it to believe it. And then put on my Roman Reigns costume and went down to the ESO meet and greet. after having like 5 mini shots of Svedka up in the room. I had like, I don't know how many more Yinglings, 4 or 5. And everybody came down and we all hung out and crashed the ESO meet and greet until like 2:30 in the morning. Went to bed. I ended up waking up around 7ish, almost 7:30. And so me, Wheatley, and Arnold went down to Cafe Momo. I followed Wheatley's example to find out what his famous hangover breakfast can do for me. And it ended up doing a lot of great things for me eventually. But I'll get to that in a second. Because by the time we got done for breakfast, Wheatley went off to do his things, dropped Arnold off back at the hotel, then went down and met up with Dan, Beth, and Kavika, and we took the MARTA, my first time in the MARTA, and I got a neat little MARTA card that has Mercedes-Benz Stadium on it, so that's all sorts of happy, joy. Then we went to Adult Swim, and we finally got to meet our great friend Mark McRae, who gave us an awesome tour. We got to meet some of his really cool coworkers, and holy moly, the Adult Swim building is like, it's like what you would imagine a millennial tech upstart company would look like, with lots of fun and games, but this actually being very, very legit. Like, it definitely had the environment to inspire creativity and then some. For more on that, just check out my pictures on my socials. But yes, thank you very much, Mark, for that tour. It was definitely astounding in all the positive ways. I mean, it was just incredible. And so me, Dan, Beth, and Kavika got back to downtown Atlanta, Peachtree Street, all that good stuff. Beth and Kavika went off to their panels. Dan had an interview to go off to, and I just wanted to rest for a bit. So I went back up to the room and rested, and then my stomach started churning. So I had to purge for fortunately less than 12 hours. Yeah, really, it was just like 15 minutes, and then I just rested for a little bit, and then, yeah, I was ready to take on DragonCon for reals then. Like, I'm talking full-on panels, none of this 20-minute sampling crap that I did yesterday. Like, we're running on Sexy Thor schedule here. So, of course, the first thing I did was went to the panel for Lucifer and got to see Amy Garcia, and who plays Dr. Ella Lopez, and D.B. Woodside, who plays Lucifer's brother Amenadiel, on the show, and they were downright hysterical. And then once we got done with that, I believe, was it dinner time? Am I still on Thursday or is this Friday? No, this is Friday. We all met up and went to the food court, and I got to try a restaurant called Roman Delight. And if you're thinking of any jokes right now about Roman Delight, trust me, I've already made them all. Every single one. Had myself a nice little slice of pizza, no big deal. I mean, it was okay as far as pizza places go. But other stuff that I've had from that food court was better, honestly. So, did I do anything after that, or did we just hang out? I don't know. I'm trying to pull up my schedule on the DragonCon app to just sort of spark my brain up a little bit, because this is very important, and I wish it took more than 5 hours for me to go in between all the little things up here. So, what happened? So, apparently we just did some hanging out at the room afterwards, which was nice. And then I went downstairs and at 10 o'clock and saw a panel called The Blair Witch Legacy. The panelists included Thomas Mariani, who is a fellow ESO network member. Um, he does the podcast Double Edge, Double Bill. So check him out because it is a movie-based podcast. So shout out to them. And then once that panel was over, I went upstairs and I went to bed, which is good because I woke up on Saturday morning around 6:30 and got to watch the sunrise over downtown Atlanta upon the Georgia-owned building and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and started watching people file in for a while. Then I was hanging out as James, Jessica, and Wheatley all changed into Doctor Strange, Black Widow, and the Shadow, respectively. And they went down with Nick and Matt to get their badge over at the Sheridan, which that was like the first time I've been to Sheridan that weekend. Not the first time ever, because the last time and only time I'd been at the Sheridan, I was staying there with my parents when we went to Walker Stalker Con in 2016. So we went to the Sheridan, got the badges, went back to the room, watched the parade, and yeah, we all went down, met up with James, Jessica, and Wheatley, went to the secret food court, had a place called Taste of Asia, which was really, really good. It's been a long ass time since I had Asian food, and it definitely did not disappoint on that day. So once we were all done and we split up to do our own things, it was just sort of an in-between panels sort of thing. And so I was curious about the video room because they started Captain Marvel and they had Infinity War up next, and I was just like, I'll check it out. Check Infinity War out, see if it's going to be any good. And then I realized, oh wait, I can actually walk into the video room while they're playing a movie. So I watched the last 40 minutes of Captain Marvel, and then I was just like, I feel like paneling up. So I went to the Arrow/Legends of Tomorrow panel with the cast, and they had Colton Haynes, who plays Red Arrow or Arsenal. They had Paul Blackthorne, who played Detective Quentin Lance. He became police captain towards the end before his character passed away, right? I don't know, I can't remember. So, yeah, Paul Blackthorne, Colton Haynes, and then from the Legends cast, we had Nick Zano, who played Nate Haywood, or Steel, the guy who's basically Colossus. And there was Tala Ash, who played Zari Tamaz, and Jess McCallan, who plays Ava Sharp, Sarah Lance's partner, and also the head of the Time Bureau. And they were downright hysterical. So that was a wonderful panel. I hope I rated them 5 stars. Yeah, I did. Okay, just checking. And then once I was done with that, I went over to the next panel, which was, I thought, was going to be the Gotham panel, because I thought it was at 5 o'clock, and the Arrow one ended at 3:30? Yeah, 3:30. So I went over to the Marriott Atrium Ballroom, and when I got there, I was just like, wait a second, there's still a panel going on here, and this is supposed to start at 5, what the hell? And then but the door was open, and I saw, like, it was the Supernatural panel. I was just like, Blaze, this is the Supernatural panel, but, I mean, she didn't stop me from going in, so, yeah. And it was just 20 minutes in, so I got to watch the last 40 minutes of the Supernatural panel, which had Mary Winchester, Garth, Jody, Rowena, and Balthazar. So if you watch Supernatural, you know exactly who I'm talking about. So once that panel was over, I turned around and got in line for the Gotham panel, who was Robin Lord Taylor, plays Penguin, Sean Pertwee plays Alfred, David Mazouz, who's Bruce Wayne, Donal Loge, still working on that pronunciation, plays Harvey Bullock, and Maggie Gia, finally pronouncing her name right, even though I met her at SC Comic Con previously, who played the second form of Poison Ivy in the show. So yeah, that was a really good panel. And then once that was over, I was waiting on Matt and Nick to be ready for dinner stuffs while James, Jessica, and Wheatley and Arnold went to the Georgia Aquarium. I went to the panel of 80 Years of Batman, and the speakers were Marv Wolfman, Athena Finger, who's the granddaughter of Bill Finger, one of the co-creators, who only fairly recently, in the last few years, got his name on the credits of Batman created by, besides Bob Kane, Tom Hentges, Jay Lee, Yannick Paquette, and I believe, is that the other person the moderator? I think it is. Okay. But yeah, it was a decent panel, I would say. And then once that was done, went up to the room, got to watch the Georgia game and find out what college football action had been happening on Saturday. Duke beat the stuffing out of, or no, that definitely didn't happen. Alabama beat the stuffing out of Duke in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The one time I rooted for Alabama. South Carolina blew an 11-point fourth quarter lead to North Carolina, the football team, which I guess isn't as bad as blowing a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, beat you to the joke. But still, I mean, it's bad because the North Carolina football team is trash. But maybe Mac Brown's going to do some awesome things with it. And also watched as Georgia beat the stuffing out of Vanderbilt. But even that blowout still wasn't as bad as, was it Georgia State? Georgia State, which is the smaller college there in Atlanta. I wanted to say here in Atlanta. So fucking bad, dude. Ugh. Fucking love that city. But yeah, Georgia State beating the University of Tennessee. Oof. That was pretty beautiful itself. So once that was done, me and Matt and John all, while Nick wasn't feeling too well, he's better now, thank you for asking. We were checking to see what was for dinner that we could actually get to in a decent amount of time. Hooters said they had an hour and a half wait. Hard Rock Cafe, which I'd never been before, but I'd always wanted to try because, in case you didn't notice, I'm a rock fan of both the rock and also the genre of rock and roll. And yeah, they had an hour wait, but we still got a reservation because they can text you when it's ready. Went to Tin Lizzie's, which is a sort of Tex-Mex sort of cantina grill, I think. I don't know, because I've only ever read the menu, never been there, even though technically it's in the same plaza as DashCon. So sue me. Sorry, there's a couple of other restaurants and bars in the vicinity of DashCon that have had my attention over the last few years, but don't anymore. But I was just like, hey, great opportunity to finally try this place. So we put our name down. The reservation was 45 minutes, and we went to the Peachtree Center food court to try to see what was going on. Maybe there was something in there that would grab our attention, but I was just like, I'm really not trying to get burnt out on the food court, and I'm borderline about to do that. So we decided to just go up and wait at Tin Lizzie's, and Matt was showing me pictures of Xavier Woods cosplaying as Billy Kay from the Iconics, along with his friend, who's another wrestler, who was cosplaying as Peyton Royce, and they were taking pictures of WWE cosplayers, and I was just like, damn, I've been rocking this Roman thing all weekend, but I'm probably not even going to get to see him. And then I see a group come out, and one of them is dressed like old school Kane, but with dreadlocks. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. And Matt was like, dude, Xavier Woods is right there. I was like, haha. And then I look and I see Xavier Woods is still in his fucking Billy Kay cosplay. And I was just like, oh my god. No, I wish I said oh my god, because that means I didn't freeze up like a motherfucker. So yeah, I was just like, holy shit. He didn't even lock eyes with me. If he did lock eyes with me, I might have said something, because then I would feel compelled to not just stand there gawking. But no, he just like walked right on by, didn't even look at me. Felt like very unsexy Thor. Some Roman Reigns. Um, but anyway, then John got the text that the reservation at Hard Rock was ready to go. So we went there. Service was okay, I guess. It was a busy Saturday night on DragonCon weekend, so there's a level of forgiveness there. But the menu was pretty basic, so I got a burger with an onion ring in it. It was cool, I guess. Once that was done and we paid out, we just went up to the hotel room and we just crashed. Dan had some adventures going around trying to talk to people, and apparently people are a lot shittier at night, which is why I don't go out anymore when it comes to a Greenville nightlife. But anyways, and he got to see Cybertronic Spree. Hopefully he had fun. He and I didn't get too much time to talk about it when we got together on Sunday. But yeah, so I got it decently on time and hung out with Matt, John, Jacob, and Nick. Or was it just Matt, John, Jacob? I don't know. And went to their gaming area. I found Mortal Kombat 2. I found Tekken Tag Tournament. And pretty much just about almost all of those games, all the arcade games at least, were free for as long as you want. Oh my god. Especially with Mortal Kombat 2, because holy crap. If you couldn't tell, I fucking love Mortal Kombat. But yeah, I played that for a bit. Then I went over to the Hilton for the gifted panel, and it was, and the cast speakers were Jamie Chung, who played Blink, and Emma Dumont, who played Lorna Dane, Polaris, Magneto's other daughter, and both of them were just amazing. But man, Emma Dumont has very much quite the personality. It was very refreshing. So after that panel, went to the food court because I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna go risk going to a restaurant with a basic ass menu. I'll go to a food court and see what I can find. And I passed by this sushi place. I was just like, oh, but I was just like, no, not this time. Maybe, hopefully, before we leave, or maybe next time I get to go to Atlanta, which will be, I don't know when. So I went to this place called Willie's Mexicana Grill, and it was like 90% Chipotle, 10% Moe's. I had a spicy chicken burrito with some good stuff in it. Yeah, it was good. I'd go there again. That just means when I go to Moe's, I'll have fond memories, but Moe's will always be home to me. And that's the sexy truth. So once I was done with that, went over to the Westin and sat into the last 30 minutes of this sort of panel of experts where we all discuss after the snap, would humanity survive? Of course, talking about, the snap from Infinity War and Endgame and all that. So I got to listen into that for a good bit. It was fairly interesting. And then after that, went to the Walking Dead panel at the Westin Peachtree Ballroom, which apparently that was the first Walking Dead panel at DragonCon in 6 years. So I guess it was just straight up kismet that I had been putting off going to DragonCon for the last few years, only to wind up here back when Walking Dead panels returned to DragonCon. Yeah, that's what I'll say. It was the Tree of Fates and all that stuff that got me back here. I don't know. And they had Cooper Andrews who plays Jerry, and Cooper Andrews was wearing a Falcon shirt, so I was just like, okay, I guess you're my favorite Walking Dead cast member now. And there was Karen David who plays Grace on Fear the Walking Dead. There's Dan Fogler who is in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, both of the movies, even the bad one. I thought Crimes of Grindelwald was okay, but it was definitely not critically acclaimed, and neither was Fantastic Beasts, at least compared to the other Harry Potter movies. Anyway, not talking about Harry Potter right now. We'll leave that to Melissa. Yeah, and so Dan Fogler plays Luke, who was part of a new group, who was supposed to die during the whole Pike scene, but he made it past that, so big ups to him. So yeah, that was a wonderful panel. And then afterwards, I didn't have a panel until 7, which was an IT panel that I ended up not going to because I didn't feel like it, because after what I went through in this next part, I was just like, you know what, that's it. I don't need to do anything else at DragonCon. And so went to the Walk of Fame. I pulled out $40 more, so I had $80 in my wallet, and got to meet and talk to Amy Garcia from Lucifer, and she was very awesome. Her voice was pretty hoarse, so yeah, obviously, because it's towards the end of DragonCon weekend, you've been talking to fans all day and doing panels and shit, like, your voice should be shredded. But yeah, she was wonderful. She wanted me to talk about movies and recommend her some movies that are out right now, which I basically just said was, what was it? Ready or Not, the Samara Weaving horror comedy where they play hide and seek and they have to kill her. Yeah, and I recommend that to you too as well. Thunder Faithful is a really good movie. And also I told her, yeah, basically the summer leftovers that are still there, like Spider-Man Far From Home and Lion King, Toy Story, all that stuff. Yeah. And so she was very appreciative, and apparently she said Greenville was a very beautiful place that she had been before. And so big ups to you, Greenville. Maybe I'll talk less bad about Greenville and particularly DashCon after meeting Amy Garcia, so you're welcome. Sexy Thor doesn't have as much contempt that he's here and not Atlanta. And then I, of course, had to go meet Emma Dumont, and she was absolutely wonderful. She asked me what my cosplay was, which is Roman Reigns. She probably didn't know who that is, but she might will eventually. And I told her about Queens to the Rescue, which is a charity here in the upstate that Nerd Bliss and Thunder Talk have done things with and participated in their events and enjoyed their events as patrons and all that, where it's a group of drag queens who put on shows and donate the money to homeless pet shelters. And like Emma just straight almost melted at hearing that such a thing like that exists, because she loves drag queens and she loves animals, so she was just like, holy shit. So she loved that. So I got an autograph from her. She gave me a hug, and I was just like, you know what, I don't need to do anything else, I'm good. And so went back to the room. We ordered some mellow mushroom, and we just hung out and watched the masquerade. And then I went over to the Hyatt around 9:30, met up with Lightning Lad, which was like the first time I'd seen him since before I started throwing up. Yeah, and then we went up to our Master and Commander in Chief of the ESO network, Mike Faber's room, and me and Lightning Lad and our good friend Chris Jones of Nerd Bliss. he was there too, and along with some new friends, Michael Gordon, who's somebody I met at SC Comic Con this year, who I became further acquainted with here at DragonCon. He was lovely too, along with Mike's wife, Judy Faber. Shout out to her. She is an absolute wonderful person. And of course, got to meet some new people. And also tried to did it more so at the meet and greet with my Roman Reigns costume, but schmooze my way to the PWR, the ESO Pro Wrestling Podcast camp. And yeah, we all hung out and drank apple pie, which was apple tasting ingredients with Everclear and tequila in it. And I was glad I ate as much mellow mushroom as I had, otherwise I would have been fucked up. But I was not. And yeah, we all talked about positives about DragonCon, negatives, and some other stuff. And, I didn't much contribute to that particular recording as far as my voices thing. At least I felt like that I didn't, because I'm the super newest guy in there. So I was just like, yeah, okay. And I just contributed here and there. Whatever. So here's my full-on contribution. Mike Faber, if you are listening, I would be glad to give you any sort of WTLK to insert into the DragonCon podcast if there's any bits here that you're listening to. If you're still listening, because oh my god, we're almost at 37 minutes. Is this going to be the longest WTLK? Maybe the longest WTLK that's going to be just me. Because the one with Lightning Lad over at Extreme Rules a couple months ago. God, Extreme Rules was almost a couple months ago. Jesus Christ. That was over an hour, but that was me and Lightning Lad. But this is just me, Sexy Thor, myself, officially hitting 37 minutes. Wow. So, yeah, once the ESO recording was done, went right the fuck back to the hotel room, got in my pajamas, and tried to go to bed. Yeah, I am definitely going to be investing in a better sleeping bag or a singles air mattress or something or other for next year, because, yeah, that floor was digging into my hip. Both of my hips and somewhere in my back are hurting. I'm saying this laying on my bed now, which feels fucking amazing. And what else? Oh yeah, so woke up around, I don't know, 9? Probably more like 8:30. Well, packed our stuff up, went to the vendors, so achievement unlocked there. And I did not buy anything at the vendors at all because there was too much stuff I wanted to get. Plus also I dropped $80 on Amy Garcia and Emma DeMont, which I was perfectly okay with. As far as DragonCon goes, honestly, there's a lot of great shit at the vendors, but honestly, the stuff I want, I can also find at SC Comic Con, or online, or honestly, Walmart. So, but still, it was great to be looking at a lot of cool stuff in there. So yeah, once I got done with the vendors, hopped in the car, experienced almost no traffic leaving Atlanta. That was amazing. And then we swung by the Commerce Crystals, the Crystals in Commerce. Had a wonderful lunch there. We hadn't eaten at that Crystals. That used to be a Netherworld tradition of eating at that particular Crystals before hitting up Netherworld, but the last 2 or 3 years we gone to the Varsity and ate there, which no complaints here. That place is fucking incredible too. And also, I noticed that Crystals has some University of Georgia, 2017 SEC champions and plaque and some other flags and decor in the building. And in the little lobby entrance thing is a framed photo of Matt Ryan in action. I was just like, oh my god, I want to take this Crystals, skylift it over to where Crystals used to be, where Panda Express is now, and just drop it right over there and just have that particular crystals. And I would eat there literally any time I was on Woodruff Road. That's not even a joke. You already know that's not even a joke. So, yeah, that was. Oh, and then once we got done with that, like, Nick and I didn't even have to stop at another gas station so we could go pee. Yeah, you can believe that I only ever peed at Crystal's and also, uh, where else? The hotel back in Atlanta, and that was it the whole way. So just process that and be amazed by that. Fuck yeah, go sexy Thor. Or uh, Roman Reigns, as I should probably call it now. Sexy Roman? Maybe? Well, I'm putting feelers out there. How do you feel about Sexy Roman? Put it on the Facebook page. Or email it to thundertalkpodcast@gmail.com. Something like that. So yeah, there was like virtually zero traffic leaving Atlanta and going back all the way home. Which, yeah, let that sink in too. It was all sorts of miracles this weekend. So, yeah, got there, got to Nick's house, got in my car, my sweet, sweet Camry, my Harley Mobile, or I guess I should call it now the Roman Mobile. Got home, got to see my cat laying on an actual bed, and now this epic DragonCon special edition of WTLK The Thunder is now over. My final word of the weekend before this podcast goes shut down and I just stop talking the rest of the night because I've been talking for now almost 42 minutes straight. Me and the Fall Horsemen and Thunder Talk and the whole ESO family, we drank, we fought, we made our ancestors proud.